Hi friends, Shauna here, and I just decided, totally spur of the moment, that I am going to start a new series for you. And it is going to be called A Few of My Favorite Things. And although, truth be told, this probably should have been done with some sort of a theme, I probably should have thought about it really hard, but instead what I did was just grabbed what was around me that I am currently obsessed with so that I can show it to you in this video. We're going to talk about some art journaling supplies, some journals, just some crafty stuff, and I hope that first of all, you don't think that I'm telling you that you must own everything that I show you, but also that if there is something that you're looking for in this category, that this kind of gives you a few tips and ideas. So let me clean my space because this is a disaster, and then let's get started. Okay, let's start actually with Archer and Olive, which could have just been what I said. A few of my favorite things, Archer and Olive. But I wanted to show you, I signed up for their mystery box because all of my friends have been obsessing about them, and I thought that it was time to try them out. And so I signed up for their mystery box, and I got these two beautiful notebooks. Guys, I didn't think I wanted the snake, but now that I have it, I love it. The snake and I are friends. And this one, oh my goodness, it has become my morning journal. So, and then I also got these jewel tip acrylic pens, and I'm going to show you these in just a minute, but let's start first with the journals. Here is what I love about these journals. First of all, as you may know, if you've been following me for long, I am in the habit of doing a daily morning practice. And I ordered the Archer and Olive journal with that in mind because I have heard their paper is rich and thick. Also, it lays flat. Look at that. It's totally flat. You can turn it and it just lays flat. It's magic. Finally, it has a really subtle, beautiful dot grid on a really bright white page, which are things that I consider to be a must. I use this along with sticker paper, which I had talked about in past videos, in order to do this morning practice of doing some journaling and some heart and soul seeking every day. But this journal, this practice doesn't need to be done in an Archer and Olive journal. It could be done in any journal. It's just that this is the journal that I have fallen in love with, and I'm really, really proud of my pages and the beautiful paper and the really it has a really nice rich feel to it, and it just makes my heart happy. So Archer and Olive is doing it right. This journal that came also in my box I brought out because it is fun, because it's craft on the inside. I haven't done a ton in this book, but I thought I would show you how cool it is when you write on this craft paper with those acrylic. They're called acrylograph pens, and that's my next favorite thing. So don't worry, I'm showing you that too. But what I am loving about this journal is I'm just treating it as a space to create whatever I feel like. It's kind of like, I guess, an art journal that's more journal, but also for art. Notice I don't always finish. I was just playing around with a concept here. Last night I couldn't sleep, and so I created this page called Disentangle, and I drew with those markers and made all these tangly lines, and I journaled inside of my tangles, and it made my heart so happy. And the reason it made my heart so happy is that this craft paper is just so cool. It's like a little bit crinkly, and it's like smoothed and wonderful. And then these acrylograph markers, oh my goodness. So after I played with the first set for just a little while longer, I knew I needed the next color. They actually have each of these in 0.7 millimeters, which is what I'm using. And also, I think it's a 3.0, a nice thick light marker tip. Man, I want all of them. I think there's 4 color families maybe. I'm going to link Archer and Olive below so you can check it all out. But I knew that I wanted this color selection after I played with this color selection. So I'm going to show you. Here they are. They come in this really amazing flip out booky thing, and it has like a blending palette. Oops. Oh my goodness, I just dropped one of my favorite things. So it has this blending palette, and that means that you have a place while you're working. If you keep them in here, I may not long term, but right now I am. But it gives you a place while you're working to get the paint flowing on these pens, because these are paint pens. So they have that system where we're going to zoom in and I'm going to show you. They have that type of a tip where you push and you get the paint flowing, right? Oh, I didn't show you that. So you kind of push down. So this one I used last night. It's nice and fresh, and also you can shake them to get the paint going. The one that I haven't used yet, this color, I'm going to show you. You shake it. I'm shaking it off camera because that's going to make you dizzy. And then you see how it's all white and clear here? That's because you have to get the paint flowing. So it's the first time, so I have to kind of do it quite a few times. But when it starts to come, you'll see. What I like is like those paint flow pens sometimes can feel really out of control, whereas these do not even a little bit. They seem to distribute the paint really well. There it is. See, now you can see that it's come to the tip. It's almost ready to start painting. Oh, it didn't zoom. See that? So watch. Now it is here. So you can use this to blend colors. I have not done that yet. You can also wipe your tip of your marker off when you're done if you've done color blending so that it doesn't get all messy and mucky. However, I just want to show you. We're going to switch to a fresh page here. Oh, I wonder if yellow is going to show well. Well, I've got this one too. Okay, we're going to zoom in, and so I can show you how beautiful this paint flows. I'm telling you right now, I need all of the colors and all of the sizes. So if the universe wants to send me those ASAP, that would be great. So watch this. Oh, wait, I'm going to get that flowing. It just flows so smoothly for a paint pen. Yet it's nice and opaque. So sometimes I feel like a gel pen doesn't have a thick enough opaque feeling, but a paint pen doesn't flow smooth enough. And this is that beautiful middle ground. And then let's do a heart because I want to show you something. When you paint, it comes down and you can see how I'm filling it in? It's behaving like paint as I'm filling it in because it just like, it is paint. Yet it's thin enough and smooth enough that I can do details. Oh, so watch. When you do that, nice and beautiful. And then if it's dry enough, you want to let it dry before you do this, but you can actually go over another color and they don't meld together because they're acrylic paint. So they are watercolor acrylic and they are magic, and look how good they look in this book. Archer and Olive also sells a black papered version, which is on my list, as well as every color of marker in the universe. Because, hello, they are beautiful. So if you look back at my disentangled page, we're going to go up just a little bit. You can see how the paint just like, because it's this opaque paint, as they went over each other, it was like they layer, that's the word, and it is beautiful. So if you are looking for a paint pen, man, I love these. And also I'm so grateful that I bought that mystery box because it was such a deal, and these are fantastic. All right, Archer and Olive, favorite things. I might have talked too long about that one, but that's okay. I'm just going to show you a few more things that I'm pulling into my creative practice all of the time right now, because why not? And these things are all to do with art journaling, because I am doing an art journaling practice this year. I'm trying to art journal at least once a week. Oh, it's been so good for my soul. And so the first thing I'm going to show you is this art journal that I bought when I was kind of testing out, like, what do I want to work in? Do I want something new? This is the Strathmore 500 is what it's called, I believe. I'll link it below. The paper is 140 pounds, which means it is crazy thick. Also, this book is this lovely, like, put it in your pocket size. It's not really pocket size, but you could definitely put it in your purse. You could take it, you know, easily peasy with you somewhere. And I love that when you open it up, it's like this almost square shape, which is, for me, feels like the most organic shape to work with. Like, it's the easiest for me to handle. When you look at this paper, it is so thick. The cover is actually thinner than the paper itself because that's how amazing this art journal is. Here's the other thing I'm loving about this journal. Oh, also, can I tell you about the paper, that it is like, it's cold pressed, which means it's a watercolor paper that has like a texture to it, which people have mixed feelings about cold press versus warm press, but I love for my art journal that it's adding this extra texture layer. Also love, I mean, this page is handling paint. It handled so much water as I was working, and also like layers of like gel medium layered down and paint with texture. Oh, I love it. So this art journal would be what I'm going to start with when I tell you about my favorite things. Since we're talking about art journaling and my favorite things, I don't have it over here because I couldn't bring it over to my new table. And it doesn't really matter which one you have. I have a sewing machine that I bought. I got it at Tuesday Morning, and it's made by We Are Memory Keepers, and it's pink. But what I wanted to show you is that I love messy stitching on my art journal pages. I think it adds such a fun level of dimension and interest. And notice how messy it is. That's because I stitch messy, friends. That's my jam. And so every time I stitch, I kind of go back and forth and make a disastrous mess, which I feel like adds to the art journaling magic. Stitching is my favorite. If I can avoid using glue whatsoever, I do, because let me tell you my other two favorite things, which are also about attaching. First of all, it's this. Okay, this stapler is made by American Crafts, and it has, I'm going to show you with a piece of paper here. It has, you can buy multiple color staples, but it's these little teeny tiny staples. I love that it's gold, although I've gotten it kind of messy here. I'm using silver staples right now, but I have pink ones, black ones, gold ones. Nice tiny little staple. It has a pretty deep edge here, but not so crazy. You could staple like in the middle of the book. But between stitching and stapling, I get to avoid using glue and add so much interesting texture to my page every time I create things in my art journal. So notice there's staples on that. Every page will end up having staples because I'm obsessed with them. I'm so obsessed with staples that I found out from my friend Confident Canvas on Instagram, LaQuisha, that there is a thing called a, wait for it, stapleless stapler. This thing is like magic, and I can't explain to you how it works, but I can show you. So I'm going to rip this so it's not too big. So you take these two pieces of paper, separate pieces of paper, and you put this magical little tool. Notice it has a tiny, tiny little lip. So you got to do it right at the edge, but watch. Are you ready? You just squeeze down, and these papers are literally attached. Now, could I like hold up my weight with that attachment? No, but they're really pretty well attached. And one of my friends was saying that she thought it looked like a straw, like the way they close a straw. And I agree, which inspired me. It's like almost like a border. So sometimes I'll go with my attacher and I'll do it all the way across to get like a whole feel like that. Right? Look at that. So I just think this is like a fun, magical little tool. I'll link it below because I didn't know it existed before I found it. This size was maybe $14 on Amazon. It seemed like a novelty I just needed in my life. But now that I have it, it's really a fun texturing tool for my projects. Okay, we're almost there. Let's talk about my next favorite thing, which is these chunky letter stamps. These have been around for a really long time. I don't even know if they're still for sale, but if they are, I will link them. They're by Amy Tangerine, and I got them at Tuesday Morning on sale. And they are these chunky letters. I'm going to show you. They like sit up from the page when you stamp down. So they're cute. But what I love about them is that they take away some of your control because you're not on you can't see where you're stamping. Also, it's really hard not to stamp the edges. And so every time I use them, I feel like it gives it a really, I'm looking for a time I used it and it's not there. Every time I use it, I feel like it gives it a really cool, like chunky vibe. I'm going to grab an example for you because I feel like you really do need to see this. So here is my Wanderlust journal. I'm doing this art journaling program called Wanderlust, and look at, when I stamp my words, they get a little out of control. My D's even upside down here. Now, obviously, I could have done a little bit of a better job, but I actually enjoy that it gets that edge along the sides, that it feels like you just stamped it with a big chunky block, because you did. So I use that stamp a lot, like almost on every page I have pulled it out. Not on that one, but look, I used it on this one as well. Let me show you. Boop. So this tool is really fun. I'm going to talk about this paper in just a minute, but before I do that, let me talk about the ink that I am obsessed with. I've been obsessed with for a long time. Catherine Pooler Designs is a stamp company that makes the most tremendous ink. And most of her ink is actually dye-based, so it's not that archival paint, like mixed media friendly painty ink. Not painty, mixed media water friendly ink. But this Midnight is a dye archival ink. Okay, can I show you why I love Catherine's ink? Can you tell I love it? Because it's such a mess. I'm going to open it. It comes, this is an old one, but man, do I love it. And I've been using it for a long time and it's still working amazing, but it comes on a sponge. So what I love about that means that it's super inky. It's super easy to pick up the ink, which creates a better stamp. Like it's more vibrant and it's more thorough every time. So I'm just going to show you here really imperfectly. So I pushed down hard because remember, I like the edges to show up. Now this is archival ink and it's black, so it's going to stain your stamps, but these are my art journaling stamps. I don't care. That's what I want to do. And so watch, I'm going to come down. I'm going to stamp. I like to wobble it a little bit. Look at how rich that black is. You see how it's like a little mottled there? It's probably because I have been using this black for a while and I haven't refilled it, but this is the best ink. And I know a lot of people use a lot of like stays on really standard ones that everybody uses, and I can't compare because I have never used any other ones because I worked for Catherine Pooler. I work for her and she sent me this ink, but I will never pick another one. I am obsessed. They also have a smaller like pocket size that I keep in my little like art journal-y tote that I take out to the couch sometimes. Midnight, Catherine Pooler Designs. This ink is great. Once again, all this stuff will be linked below. The other thing that I want to talk about as my favorite thing is something that you saw show up in this page, and you'll see it show up in a lot of my pages. If you're an art journaler, actually this is not this. I lied. This is vellum and I like it very much, but even more than that, I really love this Deli Paper. So Deli Paper is very cool because it is semi-transparent, but not entirely. It's a little waxy on one side and less waxy on the other side, and you can do so many things with it. One of my favorite things lately has been to journal on it. So you can see in this envelope here, I did this. You can actually journal on your paper. I journaled messy on purpose. And then you could even, if you don't want it to stay intact because you're just like, you just want to send it out into the universe, then you can tear it up and you can use gel medium to paste it down and it like melds into the page. I think it's the coolest thing ever. It's kind of like the way tissue paper behaves on an art journaling page when you use gel medium, but it has this really magical quality I'm kind of obsessed with. The other thing I think Deli Paper is a must for is you can paint on top of it. So sometimes I'll just have a piece, and when I have extra product on my brushes or my stencils, I'll just spread it on this piece of deli paper, and then next time I'm working, I can tear this and use it as collage paper, and it's like got that amazing transparent vibe. And look at that texture. It's so good. I love that it holds paint and it's somewhat transparent. It's cheap. You just get it. It's like an actual baking, cooking kitchen thing, I believe. This is the box I have and I love it. I just got it on Amazon. Not that expensive. It's going to last me forever. The other thing that I think it really can be useful for is sometimes when we're art journaling messy, the paint from one page gets to the next page, which isn't always a problem, but if you're not careful, it will cause your pages to like adhere together. This book that I have that I love so much is probably not really for art journaling, but I needed to use it. And so the pages are a little thin, and notice how they're like sticking together. That's because I didn't protect the pages behind my project. So one thing I'll do at the beginning of our project is just grab a sheet, keep it folded up, and put it in the edges. Maybe I won't keep it folded up. I like size it right for my book, but you put it so that it's kind of hanging out on all the sides, and that's going to protect your bottom pages from getting any damage from your work, especially if you've got sensitive pages, or if you're a neat freak and you don't want the paint from today's page on every page for the rest of your book. Deli paper. It's a must. Almost done. This has been a lifelong favorite thing for me. But one thing that I love about art journaling is oops, I forgot to put this away, but that's okay. The timing is perfect. One thing that I love about art journaling is it gives me an excuse to use this thing that I've loved forever, which is just old vintage papery bits. Now, full warning, a lot of this stuff is not archival, so it's not acid free. So it can yellow your pages, things like that, but I'm not worried about that. This is not a scrapbook that I'm trying to salvage all my pictures in. This is an art journal, so a little yellowing is going to be fine in 50 years. However, the thing about this amazing paper is that this amazing vintage stuff is that it adds this extra interesting layer. I'm trying to find where it belongs. It adds more detail and depth to a page, I think, than like almost anything else. So in this page, I'm just tucking this in here because I wanted to kind of hide those people, and I wanted to, because it's meaningful. I like my people. It's just part of my story. And so I tucked this in there, and look at what that adds to the page. This is a really large example, but if you turn back, look at this example. I just tore up like an old ticket. This is actually not vintage. It's from a parking garage I was in last year when I was at Creativation, or the year before. This one is like a little map. It's not that vintage, but you know, it's like an atlas style map. And another piece of atlas map. Sometimes I will Mod Podge down my vintage paper, and it will give it like a little bit of extra texture and peek out in little ways. Wanted to show you this one. It's hard to see, but in the background there's a lot of like lined paper Mod Podged down, or not, like gel medium is what I really mean. Or in this page here, I did the same thing, and you can kind of see it in some spots. This is just lined paper that I found at where I go for my vintage paper, the Goodwill outlet. Look at, I'm gonna just dump it for you. This is not all the stuff I have, but I go to the Goodwill outlet and I just buy like things that look interesting and old, or that have writing or type on them. The Goodwill outlet just has all of their stuff in bins, and so I dig through the bins and I find little ephemera that's like has a little bit of a story to it, or a vintage feel, or colors that I like, or these are photos. And when I find ones I like, I just stick them in my bag. At the Goodwill outlet, you buy them for only like $1 a pound. So a little bit goes a long way, but you can also find this kind of stuff on eBay or Etsy or at the regular Goodwill. This is some of my favorite ways. This is like some of my favorite style of elements to add to all of my pages. I think it just gives so much detail. Oh look, there's some more deli paper that got paint on it. So friends, there you have it. Some of these things are more expensive than others. Some of these things are more run-of-the-mill. Some of these things are a little odd. Look at that. Oh, I'm going to do that soon. But I love all of these things. They are my favorites, and I'm sure I'll have more to show you in the future. But for now, enjoy. Hopefully I sparked a few new ideas of things that you might want to try, or maybe just try to use in a new way. And I will be back soon to share more. Thanks, friends.